Hey everybody, it's Rob here. There's been a new change to the final patch notes. Apparently they changed a lot of stuff back from what they did yesterday. So Creeping Death here, for example, there's a post on Wowhead, is not getting a buff. So it's remaining at 20% and it's remaining at 40%. I made some video yesterday where it was at 50 and at 150. So the dot builds are being tuned down a bit. I still think this is going to be a pretty decent aspect, but some of the Necromancer players in particular have been a bit sad. There's also a big change coming to the Great Feast here. This was looking like this yesterday, but the Great Feast now on the Necro is actually only 45%. So they changed it down from 125 all the way down to 45. And there's been a bunch of changes throughout the board, and this is most likely tuning the new aspects down. I mean, some of them were extremely strong, but some of them I also don't really understand. So I'm going to link this post below here. So just keep in mind, Creeping Death is going to stay at 20%. This will affect the Flay build and the Burn Upheaval build a little bit here, because I wanted to, and I was like pretty hyped for like a Burn dot build. It's been nerfed quite a bit now, because you see here, this is the Creeping Death, how it was yesterday in the patch notes. But now this is not correct anymore, and it's only 20% rather than 50%. Horror crowd control. I think the combination with Fist of Fate is still going to be very strong. There's a couple of other changes here. We have the Inevitable Fate, and I like how Wowhead does it here. They have the percent weapon damage. I'm not quite sure where they're getting this from, but here, this is actually pretty strong. While enemies fall below 35% while affected with dots, you deal 350 weapon damage. This is like 12,000 something percent weapon damage, 12,000 weapon damage, that's a lot. We have the Sky Steps here. This one has also been changed a little bit, I think. We have a Prudent Heart. This one was changed from a 20-second ICD. This is basically a cheat death. You become immune to damage, like you become immortal, for 4 seconds if you lose more than 20% life with a single hit. This was very good in hardcore. But now they have nerfed this from 20 seconds down to 60 seconds from the PTR. So it only triggers once every minute. And I think with this, I mean, I know at least for softcore, this is definitely never going to be played. It's like pretty much dead on arrival on this one here. But maybe it's still an option for hardcore. I'm not so sure. Thorns, I think, stayed the same. Windbolt here. I was actually very excited yesterday because they were changing this to 30% bonus and 0.5 seconds. But now they reverted this change. Apparently it was a mistake. It's only 2 seconds now and still only 10% bonus. And if you have tried this on the PTR, it was already very bad. Like pulling in monsters, but not from afar and only like very infrequently. So I don't think this is going to ever be played, the Windbolt. I kind of wish they would like change it back to the number that they had in the patch notes, man. Dark Dance, this one here can still be pretty strong. 1.8x multiplier every 5 seconds while above 60% life, so that's really cool. Barbarian aspect, the anger management, also been down from 2 to 4 fury per second now. So we are getting a bit of less fury. We will also talk about some of the uniques here, old and new, in a second. But I think mostly it's been these aspects that have been changed again in the final patch notes now. Yeah, when you overpower, you kill an enemy with earthquakes. I'm going to link all these below. Aspect of the Fortress, this has also been nerfed again. It used to be 6% in the patch notes that I reported on yesterday. And now they nerfed it down to 5%. I think this is still not going to be played as much unless we have like an injured build again. Because, I mean, maximum you can get like 45% damage reduction if you play like low life with a barrier or something. But at least on Barb, I don't think this is going to be played at all. We have Druid aspect. I think this one pretty much stayed the same. We have... Okay, this one got nerfed heavily. Spirit Bond. It's kind of ironic, man. Druid is doing 17 damage, and now this aspect went down from, I think it was 35% in the final patch notes, now down to 70. And you can follow along, like these are all in fact changed here. You see here, they just updated all these notes again. This is how they looked before. I took a couple of screenshots. Because I actually was selling this to my friends and see, man, Necro is actually safe this season. But nah, they reverted this. And same on Druid here. It's been reverted now to 17 damage reduction, down from, I think, 35. We have a Rejuvenation aspect. Whenever you drop below 20 spirit, there is a 15 to 30% chance for your spirit to be instantly refilled. That's still pretty cool. And then yeah, here, this is the biggest change. I was talking with some Necromancers about like the tier list and stuff. It was basically already looking like Bone Spirit is the only viable option, but then they buffed this to like 225, so like a 2.25x multiplier. But now this was apparently a mistake, and this has been nerfed again in the patch notes, and now it's only a 45% x. So I was like kind of hoping that this aspect here would make a Minion Necros and all the other Necros a bit stronger, because Necro has like one really strong build with Bone Spirit that is like a big outlier. But overall, this aspect change here hinders the class a lot, because they are also getting nerfs to the Shadow Blight aspect, generic multipliers, and yeah, now this is getting tuned down to 45% as well. So not really that cool. It's more like a small feast and not a great feast, this aspect. We have Shade Mist. I think this one stayed pretty much the same. We will see if this is going to proc from every minion. It could be kind of decent actually then. Cursed Aura. This one is pretty cool. Like you're cursing automatically with both the curses, Decrepify and Iron Maiden, on your utility slots. Rogue Aspect. I think these one have also been tuned down. Still double damage with Inner Sight. Going to be very good against single target here. Rogues just always have some crazy multipliers. This is going to be 2x for Rogues. And we have the Clandestine aspect. This one is like not that great, I think. But then we have the Cold Clip. This one has also been tuned down. I think it used to be 25% in the final patch notes. And now in the final patch notes, it's only 20%. Sorcerer aspects here, we actually have the weapon percent damage on Wowhead. So it does, when burning an enemy that is not burning, you do 100% weapon damage. Again, 100% weapon damage is like damage in the thousands, right? Then we have Jolting aspect. Every second, a single arc of lightning zaps nearby enemies for 150 weapon damage. And the Winter Touch, this is also the final loads. When enemies are frozen, they take 300% weapon damage. This is actually pretty good, man. 300% weapon damage, that's like 10,000 plus damage. Pretty strong, I think. And then I don't think there's been any changes to those uniques. I haven't checked everything, but it looked the same to me. I just like Wowhead here just has them in a nice ordered manner. So you can see here the Crown of Lucion completely losing the 75% resource cost reduction effect, and also going down from 25x to just 15x damage. I don't think there's going to be many builds that are going to be playing this new Crown of Lucion, unfortunately. It also has Shadow Res, and it's just not going to be that strong, unfortunately. Endurance Phases also has been tuned down from 4 seconds to now 2 seconds. It's pretty decent because it has cooldown, but as long as we don't really need toughness in the game, these are not really going to see any play, because Gloves is just such an offensive item slot that you need to have offensive on. Locran's Talisman, we already talked about this. I don't think this has changed even more. So this has also been nerfed significantly from 1% X to 0.2% X, and from 50 to 40. And also they have reduced the attack speed. That's pretty cool with the all-stat percent, but I don't think this amulet is going to see much play the way it is now. I think it would have been better if this was like 0.5 or something X, but let me know what you think in the comments. We have the Rakanov's Wake. This one is pretty much unchanged. Good cooldown boots, but the fire damage doesn't really seem relevant. I was hoping they would buff this a bit. Shard of Iranthir, this one pretty much stayed the same from yesterday's note. It went down from 300 to 200%, but that's already accounted for in the planners here as well. So still a very strong item, still enabling Bash Barb and Flay Barb. The Flay Barb also got tuned down a bit with the Creeping Death nerf, but I think it's still going to be a pretty strong build. Probably A tier, maybe even S tier. Third Blade also stays the same. It got a bit more main stat here. So this is the Deathblow weapon. Sadly, Deathblow build is like A tier at best, so not that crazy, even with the overkill changes. Still decent build, but not really anything that I would recommend. Bash, Flay, and also Whirlwind are way better. Unbroken Chain. This one was a little bit of a question mark, because in the patch notes, I believe, it says 22% cooldown reduction. It doesn't say that it's Steel Grasp, but these are the numbers for the Steel Grasp cooldown, and it was Steel Grasp cooldown before. So I'm thinking that this is just a mistake on their end, and the Steel Grasp is right, so this amulet is also very bad. Unfortunately, the ultimates, it would be cool to have an Iron Maelstrom build, but the ultimates are just weak. Then we have Druid changes here, Bjornfang's Tusk. I think this is pretty much unchanged, but also a very strong item here. You can pause the video if you want and check this out in detail. The Mjolnir ring, this one is giving you double damage. That's gonna be pretty insane. And we also kind of know the stats now. Willpower, crit chance, movement speed by Cataclysm is active, and ranks to Endless Tempest here. So that's pretty cool. I think it's gonna be a strong ring, man. Basically double damage and infinite spirit when you have Cataclysm. I mean, it has a long cooldown, but there's many ways to reduce it. Yeah, Basilisk is here as well. I don't think this is gonna be played that much. Path of Tragul, these are very, very good for Bone Spirit, which is, right now we're drafting the tier list, but Bone Spirit, I might put it on number 1, strongest build in the game. Necromancer overall is not in a good spot, but it has only like one really, really strong build that really comes online in the end game here. So that one is insane here with more ranks, Bone Prism cooldown, and insane maximum essence increase here. Like, I don't even think this was capped, right? And like Bone Spirit is a skill that basically spends essence to get insane amounts of damage, and scales with maximum essence as well. Then we have the Mortar Crux. This one has big ranks to Hugh Flesh, so many corpses, but I don't think it has enough damage here to make up for it. Yeah, Rogue has the Shroud. I think this one is pretty much unchanged. Umber Crux here, been reduced from 30 to 20%. They're still pretty good though. And only 1 totem instead of 2. There have been several bugs with this on the PTR, where Rogue was basically dealing infinite damage. We'll see if these are all fixed. I think there's a good chance that this is still gonna just make the Rogue deal infinite damage. We'll see. Axel Conduit also been buffed here. This is the Lightning Pan Sorc, and Lightning is actually looking pretty decent on the Sorc side of things. I'm looking forward to see the Sorc stuff. We also made a poll here. I'm not sure how many people voted now. I'm going to link this in the description below about your season starter class. And looks like a lot. I mean, my community is always Barb biased, but looks like there's going to be a lot of Sorcs here, man. Like there's 30%. Every third person is playing Sorc almost, and they are Druid and Necro are kind of looking on the not so much side of things. But we'll see. We need to collect some more votes. So vote. The link is below. Gonna be pretty interesting here. Then we have the Vox Omnium, and I don't think this is gonna see much play because we are having the Shard of Viability, which is basically better as a one-hander. But yeah, I'm expecting there's gonna be a lot of Firewall Sorcs as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about all these changes. I'm a little sad for the Necros. I was hoping that there's gonna be, like, you know, Infinimist and stuff. They would have loved this Creeping Death to be stronger than it actually is. And obviously, same for the Small Feast here. Been tuned down quite a lot. So I think Necromancer is looking pretty poor at the moment. Again, they have one, which is probably the strongest build in the game, Bone Spirit. But all the rest of the builds are kind of not that nice. And I can see why not many people are looking to play the Necromancer this season. But we'll see, guys. We're gonna rock Barb, and we're gonna cook more builds. We have a Flay Barb coming out, Upheaval Barb coming out, and tomorrow we're also gonna have a tier list for you, which is being drafted right now. Hope you enjoyed. And I hope there's not gonna be another change to these patch notes, because this is already a nightmare trying to guess and make an educated, good guess about the best builds. With basically every day they are adjusting the patch notes more and more. We'll see what's gonna happen. I hope this is the final version, and we can start the season on Tuesday. Let's go, GG. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.